Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I rise to participate in this very important motion tabled by our honorable member from Melim, Sri R. Lindo. The motion is this House do now discuss the pressing necessity for government intervention to assist poultry, cattle, and pig farmers in our state, especially given the rising cost of feed. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, we all take pride in our culture, and agriculture is our culture, and therefore, this whole farming activities is an integral part of our culture, our way of life, and our means of livelihood. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, it is more important for people from Northeast like us, maybe bearing Assam, who depend solely on non-veg food. And in fact, absence of availability of enough livestock farming has an adverse impact on the overall availability of meat in the state. And we know what is the actual scenario now. The price of meat, it's something which has become very unaffordable. In fact, just last week I was discussing with some of my farmer friends in my constituency. And they were alerting me, saying that the cost of livestock has become so high that it has started becoming very difficult to afford for people belonging to weaker section, economically weaker section. It is a fact. 300, 350, now 400, somewhere 500, particularly beef and pork. The cost has, over last probably post-pandemic, it has never come down. It has never been stabilized again. Therefore, I think as a small state where we definitely is facing this problem, which is due to less and less farming activities. I think the problem of the farmers is something which is very, very complex. And when we talk to the farmers, then we know how difficult it is. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, you yourself has the wealth of wisdom and knowledge about farming. And whenever we talk about farming, we talk about also availability of manure, the organic manure, which is connected with livestock. So it's not just for the meat, even for other farming. Today, even to get a pick-up load of cow dung manure, it has become so, rather issue of supply chain, availability has become a matter of concern. So therefore, it is so integrated, it is so connected with our culture, our way of life, our farming activities. If we want to talk about nutritional security, not just food security, it is a must. We see lots of challenges associated with anemia, vitamin B12 deficiency, in spite of us being non-veg. Most of us are non-veg. Of course, nowadays younger generation have had the choice to become vegans, etc., etc. But we are traditionally people belonging to non-veg community. And one day I was discussing with friends. There was a debate why we should be non-veg or not non-veg, why we should be vegetarian. So, you know, we all have these digestive enzymes. God has provided us all kinds of food which is available. And every food that is available for us is considered as sanctified. And that's the reason why we have various digestive enzymes to digest meat. Since we were made to be non-vegetarian, of course, I don't mean to offend who choose to be vegetarian. But the fact is that this has become a very important source of our nutrition. And therefore, affordability is a question which I think is before us. Government after government has embarked upon this initiative of providing support for livestock farming, whether it is for poultry, whether it is for piggery, whether it is for cattle. I remember, even when I was a kid, every time my late mother used to take me to the office of the CNRD block, we used to see lots of women standing there and collecting, few numbers of poultry for poultry farming. Then as we stepped in as a politician, the first time that I got elected in 1993, we used to have lots of programs which were routed through the CNRD block under the name and scheme of CD schemes, Community Development Scheme. Under this program, we used to provide some numbers of livestock, goats for goatry, poultry, chicken for poultry, like the mainly goatry and poultry. This we have seen, you have seen, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, yourself. People were very happy because it's something integral to our way of life. Now, under the circumstances, it has become very difficult because the availability of land for free grazing with these whole farming activities and horticulture activities, I think the availability of place for livestock farming has become a challenge. Therefore, I think this motion is befitting. There has to be some intervention from us. I remember we embarked upon few of these livestock mission program. During our time, the present government has further went ahead by segregating them into livestock specific like piggery mission. We should continue with this kind of intervention. I remember we embarked upon that dairy mission where even just Millim CNRD block received support for 5,000 farmers, per block. Millim and few other blocks in the adjacent areas, Beta Singh, Selsela, Jigjak, Rongram, like that. So these initiatives were designed keeping in mind the need that the government must provide as an assistance, as a support for the people. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, now apart from the question of high cost, availability, etc., I think we have to look at from this another aspect of having this availability of meat which are produced by livestock farmers within our state. I remember one day we were having one program in Millim itself while we were launching this livestock mission, particularly with a reference to piggery. And after the program, one day I saw a message which was sent to me in the WhatsApp saying that, sir, after attending your livestock mission program in Millim, I have stopped eating pork unless I know the source of the pork. I was narrating about my experience, which must be true to many of us who go outside as we travel, as we take road journey. I had a privilege of time in 2008 and 9, 1 year when we were not in the government. So I traveled across Northeast by road. And in one of the places, I don't want to name, there were herds of pigs, all being fed on garbage. We saw it. Multitudes of pigs. And then as I went beyond, another after 10 kilometers, another herd of pigs grazing on garbage. So this is the kind of livestock which are coming to our state. And as medical professionals, we have seen, how through this kind of food, many of our people ultimately become victim of a disease. We know what are the diseases which are transmitted by eating this kind of infected pork meat. I remember one of my friend's mother who was initially the doctors said it appears that the patient has a brain tumor. So the whole family got so panicky, and then the patient was taken to Vellore. Then it was diagnosed that it was a case of cysticercosis, which came from consumption of pork. Now, unless therefore we know the source of meat, where it is coming from, we also have concern about health issues. Therefore, what kind of meat we are getting, what kind of vegetable, what kind of food we are eating, the ingredients, the source of ingredients from the perspective of the area from where it is coming. Therefore, today, the overall public health is connected so much with the way food that we consume are produced. Therefore, since our people are bound to consume meat, it is only necessary that our people produce in our own state as far as possible, so that at least we will be eventually self-sufficient. So how to look at this aspect of ensuring self-sufficiency in our food requirement, in our nutritional demand. Therefore, unless government has a robust program which should be designed in such a way that we are able to make this farming more and more attractive. We try to encourage many of our farmer friends to start poultry farming. In fact, recently I went to one of the villages and asked about the continuity of poultry farming by one of the farmers whom I have helped myself personally. Then I was told that no, he has given up. So I wanted to know why he has given up. The issue of profitability, the issue of easy access to feeds. We have feed mills, which is established by the Department of Veterinary. I think Honorable Minister in charge himself will be knowing. One, in the instant case which I want to refer to, is in Tura, Rongkhon. So this particular feed mill was provided enough financial support from government to ensure that it becomes operational. But after 2 years, when I tried to find out what is happening to that feed mill, I was informed by the department that it was not operational. I wanted to know why. After having invested so much of money for latest equipment and machineries, the answer was that the raw material is not available. Raw material. Who should be the people who should be producing this raw material? Farmers. So the connect between the department and the farmers. It was only that missing gap which resulted in ultimate failure of that investment. So this is something which is there. Therefore, the Department of Veterinary, if they have established a feed mill, then they have to tie up with agriculture, horticulture department so that they will engage with farmers to ensure that the raw materials are required are made available. What is the raw material required? Soybeans. So much of soybeans is grown in Nagaland, so much of soybeans is grown in elsewhere in the northeast. In fact, they have surplus. I was talking to some friends of mine from Nagaland. They said, sir, we have plenty of soybeans here. Surplus. So it's a question of connect, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. Therefore, the comprehensive endeavor to ensure that convergence and the aggregation of our effort by the line departments. So this may be kept in mind. I think even now I don't know what is the status, and also the dairy farm. Why the dairy farms are failing? Because of the feeds. I went to my farm, I checked up. So I asked my assistant who looks after my farm. I have a poultry farm. I eat eggs from my own farm because I have given up eating eggs when it is sourced from outside. I don't trust food coming from outside. Then when I calculated the cost of the feeds, it was coming 12 rupees per one egg. So I said, how is it possible? 12 rupees per egg and you're selling how much? 10 rupees per egg. So it is a very good business. 12 rupees input cost for feeds only, and the eggs is being sold at 10 rupees. So why is it? Because the person concerned has forgotten the quantity of feeds, what should be provided. So the idea is that when we try to engage with farmers, farmers must know how much money is going to come. How much is the margin of profit? And that must be in the fingertips of the people concerned who drive this program and mission as far as the departments are concerned. It must be in their fingertips. If somebody is doing egg farming, what is the margin of profit per egg? It must be 3 rupees minimum. So that is how it is calculated. I ask sometimes how much I am supposed to get as a farmer. They don't have any answer. Then I have to wait, I have to search before I decide. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, as we embark upon any program, the success story of every farming activity by respective farmers must be taken into consideration. They should not fail, because failure of some farmers who have embarked upon this initiative will discourage others. They must be an example for others to get the kind of motivation and inspiration. Farming must be lucrative. Farming must be attractive. Then only people will go back to farming. We looked at the gottery farming, how profitable it is. We look at poultry farming. Well, it is good, but it should be as part of the whole different collection of farming activities. It can be stand alone. But I think there is a space in as far as the feed is concerned. I saw many of the dairy farming failing because of not having this supply chain which enables farmers to get feeds at a reasonable price so that farming becomes attractive. These are something which can be designed in collaboration, like I have said, between veterinary department, agriculture, horticulture, and all other line departments who are connected directly. Because we have the captive market. Our own market is today not getting the kind of supply which we need. Everything is coming from outside. That is the reason why the cost escalation is going up. Then another important part which is close to my heart, which I want to share here, so that the Honorable Minister in charge will take note of this feeling, that when I was a kid, I used to see many of our friends from Khas Hills, from Shillong, camping in Garo Hills with jeep and trailer. Therefore, days together, collect our local pigs. I don't know whether Mr. Honorable Speaker recollect those things. When people from Khas Hills used to go to Garo Hills, came for days together and collect our pigs from Garo Hills and bring to Shillong. And this particular source of pork became so popular that our farmers started, because it was a ready-made kind of market. And today, therefore, I think there is a need for the department and for all of us to encourage farming of our own local breed. We used to call that chambal breed. I have asked some of my relatives, do you have this breed? Please send me. We keep on asking. It is in high demand. It's one of the best porks I have ever tested. So therefore, while we understand that pigs coming from outside, many of them are product of farms which are in a very unhygienic condition, which are fed on garbage, and which has a ramification on our health and well-being. Therefore, this angle should not be looked at only as a source of food, but as a means of addressing the resultant health and well-being challenges associated with consumption of meat coming from outside, which are product of farming in a very, I must say, unimaginable, pathetic, unhygienic condition. Then in regard to pig, yes, we must develop our own breed, and it will definitely have the kind of more immune system, therefore more resilient to diseases rather than other breeds which comes from outside. I don't mean to say that we do not look at exploring other breeds, but at the same time, let us also preserve our breed, and let us also encourage our farmers, and let there be some special component of this scheme in piggery, which looks at this particular local breed and how we can somehow eventually brand them, and maybe then farmers will get a better remunerative price for this local one. If something is being sold at 100, this will be sold at 120 or 125. The farmers will be incentivized by creating that brand and why they should eat this meat. Then another part is the integration between the department to ensure the feed. I have seen many of our youth have looked at this area, this space, to have small startups to have their feed mills. And lots of small machines are available today with minimum investment. A small feed mill can be established. But here comes the but. There must be integration and aggregation of effort between veterinary department, agriculture and horticulture, so that the ingredients which are required are available. So that we also know that, okay, these ingredients which comes to this feed mill is also coming from organic farming. These are also other angles. You know, what type of feed is being used to feed our poultry? Is the poultry feed which is coming to our poultry farms are all which are product of farming activities which revolves around unregulated utilization of pesticides? These are important things, because when we look at the farming activities in India, many of the farmers do not bother about the quantum of pesticides when they use. The usual habit, when the pesticide is being sprayed, they will start talking, they will start receiving phone call, and the pesticides is continuously being sprayed on the plants. So we can easily understand from common sense how much of overdosing is taking place, and therefore what type of food is coming which is completely infested with poison. Therefore, what type of feeds are being used to feed our poultry, the poultry which we ultimately use for our fulfilling our meat demand. So this feed is crucial, and Government of India has some programs. I think state must own up some specific program for encouraging small startups. Why I'm saying small? Because let people start small. I've seen people starting big and falling. Then they have a big fall, they can never rise again. So poultry and feed mill business is such crucial, critical. Even the veterinary department have failed. So it is not easy for anybody to take it for granted just because they get support from government. But it must be designed and planned properly. I've seen some of the farmers, particularly from Williamnagar, who are showing success stories in small farming activities. And in fact, many of our food requirement is coming from East Garo Hills. We must take cognizance of those success stories. So similarly, I think many of our youth in some areas must have demonstrated success stories. I think they must be picked up, they must be recognized, and their experience must be shared. I think farmers themselves are the best teachers. We'll end up bringing all experts from outside. But I tell you, like I know how much feed has to be given for my chicken at what time. We farmers, we know. You bring unnecessarily all experts, all consultants, spend so much of money. They will come and they will eat and they will take money and go back. And when our farmers forget, or the next generation needs. So this continuity of knowledge, sharing of new knowledge of innovation and blending it with our traditional knowledge has always been the overall strategy of the government. So let us ensure that it is properly designed, it is properly done. Then, in respect to cattle, I think it has become a very important issue because of the overall whatever unpleasant things happen across the country. Bringing cattle to meet the demand, to create that your supply chain. This supply chain has been now dislocated, and therefore it has become necessary. It is no longer should be a wish, but it should be taken as a necessity in as far as cattle is concerned. Because once upon a time, beef used to be the most cheapest meat available for us, but today it is no longer. It is the costliest meat. It is the costliest meat. So the question of affordability, we have to think for our poor farmers. You have to think for all those who cannot afford to pay such high cost for buying meat. We have the issue of nutritional deficiency. We have the issue of mothers who need blood transfusion every time they go to hospital for their delivery. I think, therefore, these are all connected with well-being of the people. And cattle, how to do it, I think we also should look at the beef cattle, while we should also still focus on dairy farming. And beef cattle with substantial area of land available, few districts must be probably identified. I have also done certain amount of due diligence with the department, then government. West Khasias is one very good place. Rivoy is one very good place. Southwest Khasias is a very good place. Some parts of East Khasias are very good, not all. And our East Khasias, East Garo Hills is a very good place. South Garo Hills is a very good place. Some of the areas in West Garo Hills are a very good place, not all. But areas where we do not have high population density, I think those should be the areas where the department must identify as an area for aggressive cattle farming to meet our demand in meat. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, with this few submission, I just feel that department is doing its job. Honorable Minister in charge is one of the most senior most. He is a batch of 1998 with wealth of experience and desire and commitment. So we expect that many new things will come by, and many more other flagship programs and other funds are there which can be converged and integrated to give fruition to many of the new initiatives which we may embark upon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you.